Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Please finish your salads. I want to welcome you all to our 20th annual Aggie Awards Luncheon. Thank you guys so much for coming. As we celebrate 20 years of honoring excellence in community activism, we want to look forward to 20 years in the future and how we as a group can affect the changes that we want to see. We would like to thank our sponsors. If you could please take a moment and look at the back of your booklet where you will see a full list of our sponsors. I would like to give a special thanks to Duolingo, Highmark, and the Giant Eagle Foundation. Can I have just a round of applause? So while our lunch is being served, and I know we're just moving along just a little bit behind schedule, I will allow you all to eat your lunch. It's going to be a fun, full day. So we're going to do our lunch. Then you are going to see a video. And then Rick Swartz is going to speak to you for a while. So if you could just enjoy your lunch, and we'll be right back.
My name is Julia Fiednell. I'm a youth program coordinator at the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, as well as the TMT space manager. So one thing I think that the BGC does immensely well is meeting our community where they're at. Every year we work with a decent amount of students, and I will always get a text, a call that says, "Miss Julia, thank you so much. I would not have been able to cross the stage without you. I've been told countless times that you're my only support system. We come to you because you help us." And I think that just really points out the need that we are here to serve.
Hi, my name is Courtney Christian, and I'm a Bloomfield-Garfield resident. I wanted to stay connected, stay close to my family, and so BGC, their new housing development, is actually in the neighborhood. I was able to work and be provided resources through BGC, and the fact that I've lived here all my life and being able to be provided housing shows the longevity and the neighboring stability that BGC has to offer in the community.
A family member gave me Richard Swartz's name. I called him up and I told him my situation, that my husband and I were handicapped. He introduced me to Linda Former. And the next thing you know, within 2 months, I had the house. I applied for it in January, I got it in March.
Bloomfield-Garfield is different because I've personally worked with them and I've seen them help me and other people. I was a victim of a violent crime. No one really wanted to help me, so I came to Bloomfield-Garfield for help. They were able to give me money as a deposit to move into a new home for me and my kids.
I am Nina Barbuto. I am the founder and executive director of Assemble. In 2010, 2011, I started my relationship with the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, and it was through looking for spaces and seeing what was available on Penn Avenue. We also partnered with them as a fiscal sponsor for the first year of our existence, and Rick was actually one of our founding board members. Something that sets the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation apart, they are not just like showing up from a different neighborhood, but they live here. They live down the street from you, they live across the street from the actual location. It feels more like of and for community because it's by community, and a lot of the work has been incorporating the voices of the folks who live here.
Thank you to Audrey and to Nina for putting that together for us. I'm not going to speak for a long period of time. I just want to talk for a few minutes about the notion of a board of directors. About 20 years ago, a delegation from the People's Republic of China came to our office, and they wanted to learn more about nonprofit organizations. So we started on a conversation, and they understood that I worked for the nonprofit organization. And then they said, okay, so who owns the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation? They said, is it the board of directors? I said, no. They said, is it you? And I said, no. So they started conversing in their native dialect with each other. And then they said, well, we're not understanding this concept. Who owns the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation? I said, it's owned by the community. And they said, so you own a house. And when you go to sell the house, who sells the house? And I said, well, I'll be there to sell the house. They said, so you own the house? I said, no, I don't own the house. I said, I don't think if we continue on this path, we're not going to come to a satisfactory conclusion. So just let me say this much. The board of directors of the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, while they are not the owners, the law, the government here in our country treats them as though they are the owners, but they are really the stewards for the larger community. They left, I think, feeling very dissatisfied with the whole conversation, but it did kind of draw a point of reference for me that became very clear from that day forward, and that was how unique a concept it is that you have a board of directors. These are people who take time out of their lives to come and figure out answers and solutions to fairly difficult problems. It can be a board of directors at a hospital. It can be a board of directors in a nonprofit community-based organization like BGC. It can be a board of directors that is trying to foster better international relations. At the end of the day, these are people who rarely get a lot of acclaim and credit. They can't get a mortgage loan at the bank because they're on the board of the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. So they are really our North Star. They are the backstop for everything that gets done either by BGC, Friendship Community Group, City of Bridges Community Land Trust, Sisters of PGH. And I think today we're going to have a brief tribute to a board member of the BGC, PJ Maloney, who spent more than 20 years with us. And these were not 20 years of just coming to a board meeting every 3 or 4 months. The BGC board meets monthly. And we also have committees. And those committees meet bi-monthly, quarterly. And then we have events. And then we have ribbon cuttings. And at every point, we're trying to get board members to turn out for these activities. And PJ Maloney was somebody who was always there, whether it was Saturday morning when we had our half-day board retreat, whether it was handing out coats at our December coat drive, he always was there. If the College and Career Readiness Program was having an event for the students in our program, he was there. So I'm going to pause, and we're going to let the tribute to PJ play, and then we'd like to invite some of his family up to receive a very modest award. So we can roll the tribute.
My name is PJ Maloney, and I'm a member of the board of the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. And I want to take just a couple of minutes to welcome you before we chow down for lunch. We're going to have a program a little bit later on. We'll go into more detail about what we've been doing at the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. But all of the people here today are people that we enjoy meeting at least once a year for our luncheon. Obviously, it's a fundraiser, but we also like to get together with people who are supporting what we do at the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. All of the housing development that we're involved in, the youth programs for education, for employment, healthcare, public safety, all of the things that we do on behalf of the neighborhood would not be done without the support of people like you. So I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate it very much. Give yourselves a round of applause. Woo!
So we're going to have Brian Maloney, PJ's son, join us at the podium. PJ introduced us to Brian as well. Brian. One of the issues that was very central to PJ was a hillside collapse that happened in 2018 on Broad Street in Garfield. The hillside collapse was precipitated by a poorly executed demolition project by the city. They took down a vacant house and also removed a retaining wall that was part of the garage at the rear of the property. Within 18 months, the hillside fell down into a valley below and onto Housing Authority property that is on Penn Avenue. That was in 2018. The community rallied to raise funds to help these homeowners, one of whom was displaced from their house and to this day has never been able to return to the house. And despite repeated petitions to the city of Pittsburgh to try to redress the circumstances involving the collapsed hillside and to also compensate this family for the damages that they've endured, to this day, not a penny has been spent by either the city or the Housing Authority. We are hopefully approaching the date when there will be a settlement. There is one, I believe, in principle. Brian had to represent us at a deposition hearing that the city insisted on having because they had heard that the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation was supporting these families. There was actually 2 families who were victimized, and that if we were not giving them that support, they would not have been able to bring the lawsuit against the city. So the city was infuriated that we were supporting these 2 families. One family actually got back into their house. The other family is still displaced. So PJ, when all of this came down, said, we need to help these families. Let's get a fundraiser together. We went to Friendship Perk and Brew in Bloomfield. We had a major fundraiser there. The community rose to the occasion, and we were able to get these families some type of justice. So because PJ and our other board members like Bill Cornell were willing to stand forth against a pretty powerful adversary, we think eventually this will get resolved and everybody will get what is due to them. So that's what board members do, because as a staff person, I don't have the authority to go forward and start fights with people that we can't finish. So if you are going to start a fight with somebody, you better have your board of directors in your corner, because it's going to come down to some pretty nasty stuff. I see Rebecca Ronaldo smiling back there. But, you know, it is sometimes what it takes to get the justice that people deserve. So today, Brian, we want to give you a plaque. I believe Jarmel has it. Thank you, Jarmel. It's an obelisk, really. And
My wife and boy should come up as well.
yeah, come on up,
You guys
folks.
should come up as well. And Sarah, where's Sarah? Sarah, come. Get up
Come,
here.
Sarah. This is for you. We have Sarah McKean, who is PJ's longtime partner, joining us today, along with Brian and his wife and their 3 kids. So these were PJ's grandkids. So we just want to extend our thanks and appreciation for all the times that your dad spent away from you so he could be with us. And that applies to you as well, Sarah. PJ, we met him almost by accident. If you remember, years ago in Pittsburgh, there was a Channel 16 that was like the cousin to Channel 13. It was called WQEX. And occasionally they would let nonprofit groups come into the studio and do what's called a phone-a-thon, where you would call people and ask them to make contributions to the organization while you were on the air. And PJ was a regular Saturday night host of what they call this block of British comedies. So I'm not going to go through the names of the comedies, but if you can recall, sometimes on Saturday night, if you were channel flipping, you would find this white-haired dude who would be in front of the camera, and he was a big fan of the British comedy series. And from that point on, we got to know him. And we found out that he actually lived in our community, and before you know it, he was joining our board of directors. And he said, despite everything else, he had a career at KQV radio as a news broadcaster on the morning shift. What he enjoyed about being on the BGC board was that instead of just reporting the news, we were creating the news. And that's what he enjoyed the most. So thank you for letting us borrow him on many, many occasions.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
Appreciate it. You want to say a few words about the call?
Sure. Thank you very much. As hard as it is to lose my dad, it's really great to see a room full of people who care about the neighborhood as much as he did. I think all of you can understand his commitment to the neighborhood of Bloomfield-Garfield and Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. When I had the privilege of writing his obituary, I led with that he was a newsman. As Rick mentioned, he was on KQV radio and other outlets for many years. So he was a newsman, a veteran, and a diehard fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in addition to that, he was also a very dedicated member of the Bloomfield-Garfield community and shared all of your passion for that neighborhood and making it a better place. And so it's really great to see a room full of people who share that commitment and are going to keep moving forward and making it a better place. And so thanks to all of you for carrying on his legacy in that way. That makes me feel great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, it's now time to introduce our guest speaker. We're pleased to have with us today Ciora Thomas, who is the founder and executive director of Sisters PGH. Sisters PGH supports transgender and gender nonconforming Black and Indigenous people of color in a multitude of ways. There's a nice summary in the program book of the work that they are doing. They do some things that are similar to what the BGC does, particularly around housing. They're getting into the housing field little by little, and probably more and more as the years go by. So we were comparing stories already of what it's been like to be in the housing development business. And truthfully, the BGC would not even be in that business without the support of a lot of the people in the room today, from the banks who are here to the city agencies like the Urban Redevelopment Authority and others. So we owe a huge debt to those agencies. Ciora is expanding her services as we speak. She has provided transitional housing space for marginalized trans communities, and she's now opening the Monica Roberts Place in downtown Pittsburgh, correct? Swissvale, excuse me. So without further ado, I'm going to have our guest speaker, Ciora Thomas, come to the podium and let her address the audience. Thank you.
All right. First of all, I want to I'm so honored to be here. As someone who grew up in Garfield, I'm from Pittsburgh, grew up in Homewood and the East Side. I'm an East Side girl. And I'm just honored to be here to represent in this way. It's truly an honor to stand before you today as we celebrate the remarkable milestone, the 20th anniversary of Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. When I think about the legacy of this organization, the first thing that comes to mind is a wavering commitment to the future, investing in the future. This is not just a theme to today's event. It's a principle that has guided Bloomfield-Garfield from its inception to this very moment. It is a principle that resonates deeply with me in the work that I do here in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County through Sisters PGH. We're gathered here today to celebrate 2 decades of progress, perseverance, and purpose, all deeply rooted in our beloved Pittsburgh. Over the last 20 years, Bloomfield-Garfield has demonstrated what it means to build with intention, to invest not just in profits, but in people, in communities, and in the promise of a better tomorrow for all of us who call the region home. This is what investing in the future truly means, especially in the context of our city and county. Today, as your keynote speaker, I want to reflect on not only where we've been, but where we must go. I also want to take a moment to honor the extraordinary individuals who have been nominated for Aggie Awards. These awards, named after Aggie Brose, epitomize the spirit of the community activism. Her legacy serves as a testament to the power of community action and the impact one person can have on our communities better, stronger, and more inclusive, or truly inspiring. Let me also take this moment to honor the incredible awardees. Yes, I did my research. Mayada Christensen, Senior Managing Director of Programs at Partner for Work. Mayada's leadership in workforce development has been instrumental in connecting job seekers with opportunities and resources, fostering economic growth and stability in Pittsburgh. Kyra Page, founder and CEO of Keeping It Cultured, LLC. Kyra's dedication to educating, empowering, and protecting the community through cultural awareness, engagement, has enriched Pittsburgh's diverse cultural landscape. Cecil Price III, founder and CEO of the Youth Emergence Project, YEP. Cecil's commitment to youth-led initiatives has provided platforms for young voices to influence policy and create programs that address the needs of Pittsburgh's youth, fostering a new generation of leaders, as we need in Pittsburgh. Takara Canty, Boone resident artist and professional teaching artist, and can I just say that I love Boone? Can I just throw that out there? Takara's artistic contribution and mentorship have inspired creativity and provided valuable educational experiences enriching Pittsburgh's artistic community. Each of these individuals embody the spirit of the Aggie Awards, and their collective impact strengthens the foundation of the city. As Aggie Brose once said, true progress is made when we lift each other up. Let's say that together. True progress is made when we lift each other up. One more time. Yes. So let's continue lifting each other up in their honor. As we look towards the future, it's important to recognize the precarious environment in which we as leaders in Pittsburgh continue to lead. We've seen incredible leaders doing amazing work, yet in some cases their legacies have fizzled out or have been erased entirely. This is why gatherings like this today are so critical. They ensure that we continue to carry on these legacies, amplify these voices, and sustain the impact of those who came before us. And I want to call Celeste Scott into this room. I want to recognize Celeste Scott for what she has done for this community, for Pittsburgh and Allegheny County in the housing field. She gave her life to it. With the transition to a new administration, we must prepare ourselves for what lies ahead. Leadership in Pittsburgh, especially leadership rooted in justice and equity, requires resilience, adaptability, and a steadfast commitment to our communities. We cannot afford to allow the voices and work of trailblazers to fade into obscurity. It's all on us to preserve these legacies, strengthen our networks, and hold each other accountable to the mission we set out to accomplish. At Sisters PGH, we have embraced this responsibility with all of our hearts. As the founder and executive director, I have had the privilege of leading an organization that is committed to investing in the future of most of the most marginalized and vulnerable members of our community, Black and brown trans people. Our mission is to provide safe, stable, affirming spaces where our community can live, grow, and reach their full potential, right in our neighborhoods of Pittsburgh and across Allegheny County. When we talk about investing in the future, we must recognize that this investment begins with those who have been historically marginalized right in our own backyards. The future we seek to build cannot be one where only some of us succeed. It must be a future where everyone in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, especially those that have been left behind, has the opportunity to flourish. This is the driving force behind the work we do at Sisters PGH. I also want to emphasize that investing in the future is about breaking cycles. Whether those cycles are systemic oppression, inequity, or even the nonprofit industrial complex. At Sisters PGH, we are committed to dismantling these systems by empowering community-led initiatives, advocating for policy change, and creating sustainable models that promote long-term solutions. This new administration represents an opportunity for us as leaders to reimagine what collaboration and advocacy can look like. We must come to the table prepared to demand systemic changes that will address the root causes of inequity in our city. This requires us to be bold, to center the voices of those most impacted, to ensure that no one is left behind in this journey. Imagine a future where every child in Pittsburgh knows they are valued, celebrated, and that their dreams are within reach. This is the future we must invest in. It's a future where the barriers that have held us back, racism, transphobia, homophobia, and all forms of bigotry, are dismantled in their place. We build bridges of understanding, compassion, and equity across our neighborhoods. But how do we get there? How do we ensure that our investments today yield the future we so desperately want to see in Pittsburgh? First, we must invest in actual education. Education is the cornerstone of progress. It's through education that we empower the next generation to think critically, challenge the status quo, and create solutions to the problems we face here in our city. We must invest in our schools, our teachers. And programs that not only teach children academic knowledge, but also the values of empathy, inclusivity, and justice. At Sisters PGH, we understand the transformative power of education, which is why we are committed to providing educational opportunities to the individuals we serve and the partners we have in community. Whether it's through workshops, mentorship programs, or advocacy training, the knowledge and skills we equipped our community with today will enable them to not just survive, but thrive in Pittsburgh. Second, we must invest in economic empowerment. Economic stability is the backbone of a secure and hopeful future for Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. Our communities cannot truly flourish if they are trapped in cycles of poverty and economic disenfranchisement. We must create opportunities for meaningful employment, support small businesses, and advocate for policies that promote economic equity in our region. When individuals are economically empowered, they can contribute not only to the well-being of their families, but also to the neighborhoods and the city as a whole. Again, at Sisters PGH, this includes job training programs, financial literacy workshops, and entrepreneurship support. These efforts are more than programs. They're the stepping stones to a long-term independence and resilience. This is what we call thriving. Third, we must invest in the health and well-being. And a future without health is no future at all. We must ensure that everyone in Pittsburgh has access to quality health care, including trans folks, including mental health services as well. This is especially important for marginalized communities. We often face significant barriers to accessing care. At Sisters PGH, we prioritize the health and well-being of our community members, offering access to gender-affirming health care, mental health support, and wellness programs that address the unique needs of Black and brown trans people. Because sometimes people forget we're here, and we live here, we're born here, and I take care of a lot of kids that come to our organization in need of resources and housing and services. When our community is healthy, they are better able to pursue their goals, achieve their dreams, and contribute to a brighter future for us all. Lastly, we must invest in social justice. The future we seek for Pittsburgh cannot be built on a foundation of injustice. We must continue to fight the rights and dignity for all people, especially those who have been marginalized and oppressed in our city. This means advocating for policies that promote equality, challenging the system of oppression, and holding ourselves and our institutions accountable for creating a more just and equitable society. Social justice is at the core of everything we do at Sisters PGH, and the core that everything that everyone does in this room. It's not just about providing services, but advocating for systemic change in Pittsburgh. We are working to dismantle structures that have perpetuated inequality and to build a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a life of dignity and respect. But we cannot do this work alone. It is through partnerships, collaboration, and a shared vision that we can truly make a difference. The progress we've made in Pittsburgh has been the result of countless individuals, organizations, and communities coming together to demand better, to demand more, even when we weren't getting it from our government. And as we stand here today, we are reminded that our collective strength is what has carried us this far. And it is what will take us even further. Let us recognize that while the work is difficult, it is also deeply rewarding. Every policy shifted, every life changed, and every barrier broken is one step closer to the future we envision. It's not just about imagining a better tomorrow. It's about taking the steps, no matter how small, to make that vision a reality. It's about ensuring that the Pittsburgh we leave behind, is one that future generations can be proud of. A Pittsburgh where justice, equity, and compassion are the norm, not the exception. I want to thank y'all for having me here today. And I hope this resonated with you all. And even when you leave this space, you have a conversation with yourself, with your families, at your dinner tables, on what it looks like to create an inclusive, loving, powerful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Again, congratulations to this incredible milestone, and congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, it has come down. Thank you so much. You are amazing, just amazing. And on behalf of the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation, I'd like to give you this award for just being the outstanding you. You're so welcome. Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you so much. What a wonderful keynote speaker she was. And before I introduce Julia to come up and do the awards, I would like to ask my board to stand up, please, so that we can acknowledge you for all the hard work that you do. Stand up, please. I know, don't make me call you out. Good job. Thanks to my board. They work so hard and so tirelessly. We have several committees. So we're always meeting, always trying to do better. So at this time, I'm going to ask Julia to please come.
Okay.
Thank you.
I too am vertically challenged, so let's do this. All right. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I wanted to start by just kind of mentioning why we're doing this awards. I did not have the pleasure of meeting Miss Aggie, but what I will say is I feel like I do know her through her legacy and through the work that we are continuing doing. So the awardees that we're going to bring up to the stage are exemplifying and I think would make Miss Aggie very, very proud. All right. Our first awardee, Takara Canty, is an exceptionally, yes, thank you, yeah, go ahead. Is an exceptionally talented visual artist and cultural ambassador and a native to one of Pittsburgh's best neighborhood, even though I might be biased. Takara's journey as an artist began with her inspiration from her mother's watercolor and acrylic paintings, growing into a passion for color, texture, and form that she brings to life in her work today. Through her inspiration, she has been able to make an impact across generations of community members, from working with local schools and providing therapeutic art programs for children in foster care to senior painting classes. Today, Takara is the Visual Arts Director for the nonprofit ACH Clear Pathways, which provides an artistic hub for visual and performing arts. Her work extends across Pittsburgh through murals, mosaics, and installations that she's even been recognized as a 2024 40 Under 40 by Pittsburgh Magazine. Although Takara has an incredible professional repertoire, while I was doing my research, it wasn't necessarily her accomplishments that stuck out to me, but a simple quote that I came across that Takara had said when describing the identity work that she does. I do not want a pretty picture, I want who you are. Takara, who you are and your legacy paints the most beautifully and raw, real picture of all, and for that we can all be appreciative of. Thank you. So please join me in celebrating Takara's dedication to her art and her community as we present her with this well-deserved award.
Wow. A lot has happened this year. This is an award I was not expecting. I have nothing written, but I would like to say thank you. My dad moved from Garfield Heights in Cleveland, Ohio, to Garfield Heights here in Pittsburgh, I think in the 70s, 80s. I don't know, I was born in 84. But he said it was the first place that was familiar for him when he got here. Him moving here was not no mistake. Meeting my mom, having us. Garfield is the greatest community. Sorry, boss. I remember growing up sitting on the front porch listening to the music from the Senior Heights Tower on Fern Street, listening to music. I was the very first girl that ever played for the Garfield Gators. I was so used to people telling me that I can't, and I won't, and I was too aggressive, and I was just too much. And I never gave up, and I just continued. Being here even as an art teacher, I want to make sure that students that didn't even have the opportunities that I had, that they have them. Knowing and understanding yourself is so important. It took me to the age of 39 to understand myself. Being able to create a piece and tell them exactly who you are, and even having that chance to do that through Boom Concepts, to partnership with them, to hire my friends who are great artists as residents, to continue to teach the kids throughout the city is very important to me. So I really thank you for this award. I thank you for being able to give me the chance to work with pre-K all the way up to seniors. I appreciate giving a chance to do art therapy with our children, but it's also very important that even as a Garfield resident, that I'm able to continue to help and support my community. To be able to tell my children that I grew up here, that this is Nina's symbol, that these are great people still within the community, and for them to give back. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Mayada Christensen, a true advocate. Yes, thank you. There you go. A true advocate for social justice in our region and a leader in workforce development. Mayada has spent over 20 years driving education and workforce initiatives through her various educator roles. Mayada has been able to see the next generation of the workforce in their beginning stages. Now being the senior managing director of programs at Partner for Work, Mayada is leading and supporting the initiatives for change in the workforce to address the inequities and challenges she saw through her educational career. Mayada believes that workforce development is not just a job, it is a pathway to opportunity and empowerment. A quote from Caleb Armstrong, Youth Programs Specialist at Partner for Work, sums up the type of leadership Mayada encompasses. Quote, Mayada comes into work every day asking, how can I help, and what do you need, and we'll try our best to make that happen. Her enthusiasm, joy, and love for her work is so incredibly contagious, and it is an honor to work with her every day. In addition to our previous awardee, Mayada has also been recognized as a 2024 40 Under 40 by Pittsburgh Magazine. So please join me in recognizing Mayada Christensen for her lasting contributions to the workforce, her impact on our educational landscapes, and her powerful role in community development.
Thank you. So I'm 43 for the record. I was recognized as 40 under 40 when I was under 40, but I am 43. Just wanted to, be honest with us here since we're all family. I did have the privilege of meeting Aggie Brose. It was about 15 years ago, actually. I worked for A+ Schools at the time, and we were doing a campaign around great teaching. And at the time, within Pittsburgh Public Schools, there were layoffs happening and schools closing, and so our position as an organization at A+ Schools was that seniority should not be the sole reason that teachers are kept out of school versus laid off, because we saw the churn that happened within schools that was in a lot of ways provoked by seniority rules. And so that put us in a really sticky spot. Because that definitely put us in some ways in opposition and challenge to the unions and the teachers union, but it also put us on the side of young people who didn't want a new teacher just because. And so we were building this coalition and we were trying to get folks together, and I was, very early in my career, and so I found myself in a room with staunch union supporters, of which Aggie Brose was one of them, and just, waiting for the fireworks and just not really sure, what was going to happen exactly in the way that we were really trying to get folks support and have people see really how this was impacting young people. And so the conversation went all over the place. It went from, this is anti-union to, this is not the right thing to do, and it took some crazy turns, and I was looking to Aggie as the barometer because, as a young woman that was, growing up professionally, I looked to other women to see, how do they act in this situation? How do they get to be seen? How do they get to be heard? How do they earn respect? How do they be enough, right? Like, not too much, not too little, but like, how do they make that middle ground? And so I was looking to her, and she, let conversation happen, let the fireworks go off, and she said, you know what? This is the right thing to do. And she had the facts. She knew how many kids from Garfield would have been displaced. She knew exactly how what we were talking about was going to impact the people and the young people and the families in Garfield. And she said, this is what's right. We need to support this because this is the right thing to do. And I thought, like, oh, yes, Aggie, like, how do I be that, right? How do I get to be in that sort of way where I can stand in my own truth that deeply, that I can just stand in the face of a room full of men and a room full of people and say that? And so she didn't realize in that moment, but what she absolutely did for me at that time was made me really think, well, what is the right thing to do for me in this moment and in this movement and in this time? And so that was a big factor in how I thought about leaving and working and teaching and going back to the classroom, because I felt like the front line, like that is the right thing to do right now in this time. And so she didn't know that, but she absolutely impacted my decision making, that impacted the trajectory of my entire career. Just in the way that she carried herself and how much she understood and knew and was really for the people in a very genuine way. And so I'm just, when Nina emailed me about this award, it felt so special, not just to be recognized, but also to be recognized in the name of Aggie Brose, because she had no idea that she did that, but it was really, really important to me to be able to have that experience with her. And so, fast forward 15 years, now I'm a partner for work, and I have the privilege to still work with Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation and see that in all of this time, BGC staff, they still do what needs to be done. It doesn't matter what the politics might be. It doesn't matter what the situation might be, but they get it done. They have the most hustle. They're working amazingly for young people. And, Judy, she might ask about 387,000 questions, but it's okay, because I know that's because Judy is right there, and Julia, and Paris, and Amber, and Pam, actually, too, and folks, and I know that's where their hearts really are. And so I'm very proud to be partnered with Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. As the Workforce Board, our role is really to put folks together, to connect jobs and young people and adults and employers to be able to really build our economy. And so BGC is a huge part of that in terms of the way they are supporting young people and really creating spaces and career pathways for them to be able to find their place in our economy and make self-sustaining wages and do right by their families in whatever shape that ends up being for them as adults. So I thank you so much for this honor. I thank you for the recognition and for joining today, and thank you.
So our next honoree, Miss Ciora Page, is a shining example of young excellence, leadership, and commitment to culture. I might be biased because she was one of my CCRP students, but her acclimates will definitely come with it. Currently a senior at Lincoln University, Ciora is not only excelling academically in mass communications, but also shaping change as the founder and CEO of Keeping It Cultured, LLC, a brand dedicated to Black positivity and advocacy. The brand was, quote, "Born out of pain, I turned into passion. I created Keeping It Cultured as an outlet for the things I was going through as a young Black girl in America," said by Miss Ciora. Ciora was a participant of the BGC's College and Career Readiness Program in 2020 as a senior in the height of the pandemic. One thing Ciora made very clear from the first time of meeting her in my office: she has a goal, she will make a change, and she will succeed. Her achievements include representing her university at the White House in a forum with Vice President Kamala Harris, showcasing her dedication to creating a meaningful impact. As a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta and the National Council of Negro Women, Kyra embodies a strong commitment to service and leadership. Kyra is as fiery as her signature red hair is and is a true force to be reckoned with, and I tell her as often as I can. So let's honor Kyra Page for her vision, her dedication, and contributions to her community. Although she has a diverse list of experience and accomplishments, she's just getting started. Come on, Kyra. And a moment for how stunning she is.
This is for you, sweetheart. I want to take a photo of you.
That's my father. Wow. When I was told that I was going to be honored today, I was fangirling like I wasn't going to be up here. I was like, oh my God, me? Like, you picked me? It is with immense gratitude and pride that I stand before you today accepting this award for my work with Keeping It Cultured. Keeping It Cultured is more than an initiative, it's a movement. A movement rooted in the celebration of Black joy, the preservation of our rich culture, and the creation of spaces where our voices are amplified and our stories are honored. Creating spaces where our people are protected. This recognition is not just mine, it belongs to the community that has supported me, the team that works alongside me, my family who has encouraged, invested, and believed in me, and every individual who has attended, contributed, or believed in me or this mission. Our work is not just about creating content or making events, it's about legacy. It's about ensuring that our culture remains vibrant, celebrated, and respected for generations to come. Keeping It Cultured is for the people, by the people. This is only just the beginning for us. And I want to thank you for recognizing this mission, for standing with us as we continue to uplift, empower, and keep the culture. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Bloomfield-Garfield for recognizing me, and I just want to thank my people, our people. Thank you.
Not Kyra being a better public speaker than me. Anyways. All right. So our final honoree of the day is Cecil Price III, a young leader who exemplifies both purpose and vision. Cecil was also a past participant in the College and Career Readiness Program the year prior to me starting. Before meeting Cecil, I heard nothing but the most amazing things about him, his accomplishments, and his overall tenacity. The first time I actually met Cecil was after he graduated, and he came to visit Miss Judy in her office, and I most certainly thought he was an adult, especially since he had his Bluetooth headset in, and simply by the way he dressed and spoke and the level of respect he carried himself with. During his time in CCRP, he worked diligently on scholarships, not only receiving a near full ride to Morehouse College, he also secured close to $30,000 in scholarship to go towards graduate school. Upon graduating from Pittsburgh-Obama, Cecil was the first student body president and Black male to earn the honor of valedictorian in his school's history. Cecil is the founder and CEO of the Youth Emergence Project, a youth-led think tank that empowers young people through policy and program development here in Pittsburgh. Currently studying sociology and political science at Morehouse College, Cecil is a distinguished Oprah Winfrey Scholar and serves as president of the National Action Network's collegiate chapter at Morehouse. In addition to his professional journey, Cecil is also dedicated to his spiritual journey as well, and has made the conscious decision to accept the call on his life as a minister of the gospel and is now a minister in training. Through his work, Cecil is building a brighter future for his peers and community, driven by a commitment to faith and empowerment. Unfortunately, Cecil is extremely busy at school, so he was not able to join us, but we are so excited to invite Miss Cecilia, Cecil's mother, to accept his award on his behalf.
Well done, Mama. Well done.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, all of God's beautiful children. It is an honor to stand here today. I must say, myself, Cecilia Price, is accepting, along with Cecil's two aunts and godparents, Lillian Soga and Brenda Lee Harris Hills, just a couple of the women who are a part of Cecil's village. I met Miss Judy Lebarski through Cecil, and Miss Judy has such a wonderful heart, a dedication to students. But at first I thought, oh, we were special, like she loved us, me and my family. I thought we were special. Then I saw that her greatness and her wonderfulness went to every family to make them excellent. You know, I have 3 imperfectly wonderful children, and I've shepherded their hearts back to God since they were born. Cecil has always been such a smooth, wonderful child. I would ask him as he's growing, Mom, what do you want for Christmas? Mommy, I don't want anything. I have you. I just want you. And as he grew, he was about 7 or so, he decided he wanted an organ or something. No, he called it a keyboard. Because everyone knows that he doesn't ask for much, he got about 7 or so keyboard. So I had to bless other people with it. What I do as a mom, I love them. And I discipline them. And discipline doesn't mean you have to hit your children, but you correct your children when they're wrong. I tell my children that I'm raising them to be not citizens of Pittsburgh, but citizens of the world. So wherever they go, whatever table that they sit at, they will know that they belong. There's no sense of inferiority when they get there. I observe my children to see what kind of heart they have. When Cecil was going to Morehouse for orientation, we went and saw the coach for some other kid who was from Pittsburgh because he wasn't sure that he wanted to go to school or how he was going to get money. So we spoke to the coach at Morehouse to see what he can do for this young man. And the coach gave us his card. You know, when Cecil did the scholarships as though it was a second job over time. Because, I'm the richest poor person I know. So guess what? I'm not even 100 here. I'm $1 here. I got $1 here and $1 there to pay the bills. But I watched Cecil, and as Cecil was getting his scholarships, Cecil invited every other student at Obama who were willing to listen where he was getting his scholarships from. And it was a lady at the church, forgot the church, it's in East Liberty, Miss Myrna Clark. She's what I call a scholarship guru. She's not doing it for you, but she'll give you the information and direct you where to go. And then you have to put on your skates and do the work. Parents in here, don't tell your children that it cannot be done. Work with them to see what can be done, because many things can be done. There's greatness. Pittsburgh is a hidden gem. And every single person that's in here, I've not met you personally, but you being here, that means you want Pittsburgh to be great. You want to be impactful. So I want to say thank you, everyone that's here. Thank you for the award that's given to Cecil. And I pray that God will bless Pittsburgh, bless our nation, bless our government, And God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Many of you know me. I'm Dinah. I'm the Director of Development for the Bloomfield-Garfield Corporation. I am not as good of a public speaker as everybody else, so just bear with me. I'm going to close this out. We're celebrating our 20th annual luncheon today, and I really spent a lot of time thinking about what does 20 years in the future look like? And on everyone's chair, you had a pin that says, what would Aggie do? And as we close out tonight, that's what I want you to think about. As you're planning the future, what would Aggie do? She would put on her blazer and she would get to work, and that's what I'm putting to everyone in this room. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, and we're gonna get it done as a team. I just want to quickly thank our sponsors one final time. We can't do it without them. And a special shout out to Highmark, Duolingo, and sorry y'all, and Giant Eagle Foundation. Thank you. And that's the end of our program. Please make sure you take your pen, grab a sticker, and think about us as you're going forward in your day. On the tables, there are QR codes if you would like to donate to any of our work. We sure would appreciate it. Think about us in your end-of-year giving, and we're taking up coat donations for the kids in our community. So bring me some coats. All right, thank you, everybody.